Marjorie Taylor Greene's self-imposed money problems continue. Yes. Now, you remember, of course, I reported on how she's raising a lot less money on her little tour with Matt Gaetz. And not only that, but has spent a ton of money on that tour for very, very little gain. Now, something else is going on when it comes to her money, and this one actually affects not her fundraising, but her personal paycheck. According to a report from Punchbowl News, Marjorie Taylor Greene has racked up so many fines for refusing to wear a mask on the House floor that if she keeps going for much longer, she's going to end up working for free. Not that, of course, that I'm implying that she's actually doing any work in the, in Congress, because she has absolutely no committee assignments or anything like that. And so she literally doesn't really do anything other than present memes on the Congress floor. So, okay, now the report notes that lawmakers are fined every time, for the first offense of not wearing a mask. Then $2,500 for each occurrence afterwards. And as a result, Greene has given up nearly, a third of her congressional salary as she gets hit with automatic fines. Oops. According to an early report from USA Today, by November 3rd, Taylor Greene had been fined 20 times, resulting in the loss of $48,000 since May. That's more than what people make in a year, the average American. And yet, she just kind of shrugs it off. She's like, whatever, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep not wearing a mask. Well, now why? Well, because she doesn't care. Obviously, she is virtue signaling, and that is worth a lot more to her than her congressional salary because, look, it actually gives her more opportunities to get paid. And it helps her politically. It's not hurting her in the least little bit. It's actually helping her with the base because her base is insane, and she's bragging about it. In fact, last month, she tweeted this: I have over $25,000 in mask fines because I refuse to wear a mask in the chamber where over 80% of Congress is vaccinated and I'm not sick. Well, here's the thing. You can still, if you're vaccinated, you are still able to get the virus. You are still able to actually spread the virus. Now, that said, obviously, if you're vaccinated, you have a lot less chance of contracting the virus, and you also have a much less chance of developing serious illness. So you still should get vaccinated. That is really, really important. And plus, Congress is ancient. Like, you understand, like you're in a room filled with 70 and 80-year-olds. They're old, which means, of course, their immune systems probably don't work as well as, for example, say, 20, 30-year-old. And so there can be pre-existing conditions, comorbidities, etc. So if you get COVID, when you're one of these older lawmakers who might not have the greatest immunity, even if you're double vaxxed, then you can still develop some serious symptoms. And even if you do survive those symptoms, which you're very likely to do so if you're vaccinated, well, that can obviously get in the way of your schedule. It can hamper your workday. Again, we are talking about Congress here, so I guess it really wouldn't have too big of an effect. Maybe they would miss a fundraiser or two. But at the same point, it's not just about that. It's actually about giving a shit about your coworkers. Okay? And so that's really what's important. Okay? She doesn't care about her colleagues. And neither do a lot of the Republicans. Again, the people who are not vaccinated in Congress are Republicans. Just yesterday, Paul Gosar tweeted out an edited film about, or I should say an edited anime of him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, as Attack on Titan characters that were fighting AOC and Joe Biden. That's weird. And so when you're doing that to your colleagues, you think that they care at all about the people that they work with? Seriously? No, to them, they're the enemy. They must be destroyed at all costs. They are destroying democracy. They're destroying our country. No, okay, I have noticed, by the way. Let me take that back for a second. So they almost never say, oh, the Democrats are destroying our democracy. No, because they don't believe in democracy. They say they're destroying our country. They're destroying our nation. Very, very different. And I just realized that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't really seen conservatives defend democracy at all and say, oh, you know, even in their attacks against, Democrats or progressives, they never say they're destroying our democracy. Destroying our democracy, we need to preserve our democracy. No, they're saying our country, our country, our country. Very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. But all right. Anyway, that's just a side thought. So now Marjorie Taylor Greene, getting forward with the story, has also filed a lawsuit against Nancy Pelosi, joined by another Republican named Representative Ralph Norman, I've never heard of. They argue that the Speaker's mask mandate for older people in all the House members is in violation of the 27th Amendment, and that the fines being issued for not wearing a mask is unconstitutional. So now, I looked into this. So the 27th Amendment doesn't say anything about fines. What it does is that it makes it so that pay raises or decreases for members of Congress can only take effect until the next election. So even if she was somehow right, which she's not, all they would have to do is go to the next election and then say, okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you still haven't paid your mask fines. Pay up. Makes no sense. It's a waste of time. So let me give you the text of the law, by the way. No law varying the compensation of the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. So this isn't even about pay raises or pay decreases. No, this is a fine for not following House rules. Which, again, that goes away. The fine goes away if you follow the rule. But again, this is an example of the insanity of the current Republican Party. Just another in the long line. But by all means, keep racking up them fines, Marjorie, until they take up your whole paycheck. Because it's not like you're doing anything to actually earn that paycheck anyway. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.